The strangest facts about the world geography explained. The world is a big, mysterious place where some facts defy logic. Whether you've just completed school or you graduated decades ago, there are likely many things that you don't know about the extraordinary planet on which we live. While we have attempted to make sense of this planet we live on for hundreds of years, there will always be more to discover, and some facts just seem unreal. In this video, we have listed some of the strangest facts about the world that geography explained. Now let's get it on. 1. The amazing location of Africa. Africa is sometimes nicknamed the Mother Continent because it is the oldest inhabited continent on the Earth. Humans and human ancestors have lived in Africa for more than 5 million years. Africa, the second largest continent, is bounded by the Mediterranean Sea, the Red Sea, the Indian Ocean, and the Atlantic Ocean. It is divided in half almost equally by the equator. Africa has 8 major physical regions: the Sahara, the Sahel, the Ethiopian highlands, the Savannah, the Swahili coast, the rainforest, the African Great Lakes, and Southern Africa. Some of these regions cover large bands of the continent, such as Sahara and Sahel, while others are isolated areas, such as Ethiopian highlands and the Great Lakes. Each of these regions has unique animals and plant communities. The Sahara is the world's largest hot desert, covering 8.5 million square kilometers, about the size of South American country of Brazil. Defining Africa's northern bulge, the Sahara makes up to 25% of the continent. Savannas or grasslands cover almost half of Africa, more than 13 million square kilometers. These grasslands make up most of the Central Africa, beginning south of the Sahara and the Sahel, and ending north of the continent's southern tip. Among Africa's many savanna regions, the Serengeti is the most well-known. The Serengeti is a vast, undulating plain that stretches 30,000 square kilometers from Kenya's Masai Mara Game Reserve to Tanzania's Serengeti National Park. The Serengeti is home to one of the continent's highest concentration of large mammal species, including lions, hyenas, zebras, giraffes, and elephants. Each year, more than 1 million wild beasts travel in a circular migration, following seasonal rains across the Serengeti plains. Their grazing and trampling of grass allows new grasses to grow, while their waste helps fertilize the soil. As the African continent separated from Saudi Arabia, large, deep cracks were created in the Earth's surface. These cracks were later filled with water. This geologic process created some of the largest and deepest lakes in the world. There are 7 major African Great Lakes: Lake Albert, Lake Edward, Lake Kivu, Lake Malawi, Lake Tanganyika, Lake Turkana, Lake Victoria. Lake Victoria, the largest lake in Africa, is the southern source of Nile River, the longest river in the world. The African Great Lakes region has a diverse range of aquatic and terrestrial animal life. Fish include the 45-kilogram Nile perch and 2.5-centimeter sea child. Migrating savanna animals such as wild beasts use the lakes as watering holes. Hippos and crocodiles call the region their home. Number 2. Australia is surrounded by water, but doesn't have the longest coastline. Being its own continent and completely surrounded by water, you'd think Australia would easily have the honor of being the country with the longest coastline. However, that title goes to Canada. Canada has 152,100 miles of coastline, compared to Australia's measly 16,000 miles. In fact, Australia ranks the 7th on the list of the world's longest coastlines, coming in behind Indonesia, Greenland, Russia, the Philippines, and Japan. While many people visit Australia for its brilliant beaches and year-round sunshine, the Australian Alps, straddling New South Wales and Victoria, are Mecca for skiing enthusiasts. Snow usually falls between June and September, meaning Australia is the perfect place to get your skiing fix during the Northern Hemisphere summer. The large deserts of Central Australia means that the vast majority of the population lives on the shores of the enormous country. The large cities of Perth, Sydney, and Melbourne are iconic places to visit, with buzzing centers and multitude of beaches, from the sands of Bondi to the surf of Trigg. Outside of the major hubs, there are hundreds of smaller beach towns where you can appreciate Australia's beautiful coastline. The island of Tasmania is the ideal spot to experience the great outdoors. With air as clean as Antarctica, around 1/3 of the state is a national park or World Heritage protected. It is a walker's paradise, with trails and walkways winding over the whole island, where the coastal paths reveal impressive views of the Wineglass Bay and the Bay of Fires. The Great Barrier Reef is the pride and joy of Australia, made up of nearly 2,500 individual reefs and visible from space. It is stretched halfway down the eastern coast of the country, meaning that there are plenty of spaces to use as jumping off points to explore the kaleidoscopic coral. The animals of Australia are some of the most interesting in the world, from cuddly marsupials to a huge variety of birds. There are so many opportunities to experience the country's wildlife, from zoos and parks to spotting these unique creatures in the wild. Number 3. Mount Chimborazo is closer to space than Mount Everest. Well, we all know that Mount Everest at 29,035 above the sea level is the highest spot on our planet and is likely to remain for a long time, unless we think about the world's highest differently. If someone asked you to find out a place on Earth where you would be closest to the moon, the stars, and the outer space, you would say Mount Everest, right? But here is something that you may not know. The Earth is not a perfect sphere. The Earth, it turns out, is more likely like a beach ball that someone sat on. It has a slightly distended middle. Mathematics call this an optate spheroid, which means that there is a bulge that circles the Earth just below the equator. So anyone standing in that part of the world is already standing higher or closer to the outer space than the people who aren't on the bulge. Therefore, people in the equator, Kenya, Tanzania, and Indonesia are all a bit closer to the moon than people standing on the North and the South Pole. To make it even more interesting, suppose we climb to the top of a mountain just south of the equator. There are several famous ones: Mount Kenya in Kenya, Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, and a bunch of not so famous ones in Andes. If you climbed up to the top of one of them, would you be closer to the space than if you climbed the Mount Everest? And the answer is yes. But the closest spot to space will surprise everyone. It is Mount Chimborazo in Ecuador. Yes, Ecuador. Mount Chimborazo in the Andes is a 20,000 plus foot peak sitting on top of a bulge on the Earth. Mount Everest is 29,000 feet plus food picking sitting lower down that same bulge. Because Chimborazo is a bump on a bigger part of the bulge, it is higher. So if you want to stand on the place on Earth that is closest to the moon, that would be Mount Chimborazo. Before revealing the last 2 strange facts about the world that geography has helped explain, kindly show us some love by subscribing to our channel. Also give us a like, share the video, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell for timely updates of the latest uploads. Let's continue. Number 4. Iceland is growing by 5 centimeters per year. Iceland is an island in the Atlantic Ocean, located near the Arctic Circle between the Greenland and Norway. An island of 103,000 kilometers square, it is about the same size as Hungary and Portugal, or Kentucky and Virginia. Iceland is the 2nd largest island in Europe, following Great Britain, and the 18th largest island in the world. The coastline is 4,970 kilometers, and the Iceland maintains a 200 nautical miles exclusive economic zone. It takes approximately 5 hours to fly from New York to Reykjavik and 3 hours from London. Iceland is one of the youngest land masses on the planet and consequently home to some of the world's most active volcanoes. The island owes its existence to a large volcanic fissure in the mid-Atlantic ridge, where the Eurasian and American tectonic plates meet. Even today, the country is growing by about 5 centimeters per year, as it splits wider at the points where 2 tectonic plates meet. Number 5. Mexico City is sinking. Originally built on a lake in 1325 AD, Mexico City is currently sinking by about 3.2 feet per year due to a phenomenon called the subsidence. The metropolis landscape is compacting and parts of the city are now dropping 1.5 feet each year. The Aztecs filled in the Lago de Texcoco to create an artificial land, and the Spaniards created a second location atop the ruins in 1521. Because most locals rely on water extracted from the aquifer below the city, it has dropped a total of 32 feet over the last 60 years. Now that kind of compaction is irreversible, the researchers report, and it's responsible for the appearance of extensive fractures that damage the buildings, historical sites, sewers, and gas and water lines in the city. The fracturing is also opening up the ground to contaminated surface waters, which could make access to clean water in the city already difficult and even worse. Now that's all on our video about the strangest facts of the world that Geography Explained. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more of our amazing content. Please give us a like, share the video, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell for timely updates of our latest uploads. We value your feedback. Feel free to share your thoughts with us in the comment section below.